After Abu Dhabi and the tennis elite failed to predict it, Alex Eala just made a huge profit. The Filipina, age 20, earned a total of $45,859 from a tournament run that left competitors watching their backs, spectators yelling, and rankings destroyed. Eala demonstrated that she is not just ascending but also arriving with a career-defining comeback that saved a match point and a ranking climb that placed her at number 38 in the world. Additionally, the shockwaves are only getting started. It was not Alex Eala's intention to appear on the Abu Dhabi International Tennis Complex's courts in late January 2025. Not at all. Not as the star of a WTA 500 event, which is among the most prominent competitions outside of the Grand Slams. However, there she was, ranked 45th in the world, just after winning the Philippine Women's Open and bearing the aspirations of a whole country. Eala was the first Filipino to win a junior Grand Slam singles title, the U.S. Open Girls Champion, the prodigy throughout the most of her career, and the one that everyone predicted would succeed. The professional circuit, however, is a different animal. Juniors are chewed up and then spat out. Potential is unimportant to it. It requires outcomes. Eala had also been laboring for over 3 years, moving between ITF events, slogging through qualifications, and battling for every ranking point as if it were her last. Abu Dhabi was meant to be a test, an opportunity to demonstrate that she was one of the top 50 in the world. An opportunity to demonstrate that the excitement wasn't all hype. Yes, she had a career-high rating when she came, but she also had doubts. Could she regularly compete at this level? Would she be able to bear the strain of playing for a nation that had never produced a player in the top 40? Was she able to deliver when it counted? The draw wasn't favorable. In the first round, she played Alexander Sasnovich, a battle-tested Belarusian who had defeated Serena Williams in sets and eliminated players ranked in the top 10. Sasnovich's ranking was barely off the top 100. However, she posed a threat. She was seasoned. She was a previous visitor. Eala. She continued to study. This time, however, something was different. It was a different audience. There was a change in energy. Not just to see, but also to believe, thousands of Filipinos had traveled to Abu Dhabi. With flags, chants, and a faith that only a country devoid of tennis glory can muster, they packed the stands. Eala sensed it as well. Every shout, every prayer, and every glimmer of hope in the stadium resonated with her. This was no ordinary contest. She wasn't going to let this opportunity pass her by. However, what took place next? No one anticipated it. Not even Eala herself, not the audience, nor the critics. Alex Eala was in the last stages of the contest, 2 hours in. The opening set was a 26 loss for her. By hitting deep and guiding Eala around the court like a chess piece, Sasnovich was controlling play. Eala, however, retaliated. She won the second set 6-4 to tie the match. The audience exploded. It was this. They had come to visit this particular Eala. The third set then started. Sasnovich blasted him. She repeatedly broke Eala's serve before breaking it again. It was 4 before anybody could blink. Sasnovich served throughout the game. Eala's obituary was already being written by the pundits. They said it was a great attempt, but insufficient. Standing at the baseline, Eala's knees were shaking, her lungs were screaming, and she was soaking perspiration. She had one more game to prove all the doubters wrong, one more game to go home, and one more game to be eliminated. Then something happened. She retaliated. The audience let forth a yell. She then held serve. The noise increased in volume. Then she broke once again. The stadium as a whole stood. All of a sudden, it was 4-3, 44, and 55. Sasnovich was now drowning after sailing. Eala had fought her way back to life. At 55 in the third set, the match ended in a tiebreak. The victor takes everything. Match point had been saved by Eala. The odds were against her. Could she, however, finish? The tiebreak played out like a suspenseful movie, point after point. It was life or death at every ball. The weight of a country was borne by each swing. Alice served in the tiebreak at 6-5. Sasnovich went back to his roots. Sasnovich's frantic response sailed long after Eala's intervened and smashed a forehand down the line. 26-64, 765. Game, set, match. Pure battle for 2 hours and 51 minutes. The throng burst into flames. Alo broke down in sobs as she fell to the court. It was her. She was alive. I just kept fighting for my family, for my country, she said in her post-match interview, hardly able to contain her emotions. I didn't want to disappoint them. Even though she was unaware of it at the time, her return would alter everything. The payout was when things truly went crazy, even if the triumph was amazing. Let's discuss numbers. Because victory in tennis is more important than fame. They are financial in nature. And Alex Eala simply got lucky. Her journey to the Abu Dhabi tournament's second round. She won $35,000 in prize money in open singles. That is more than the majority of Filipinos earn annually. She wasn't finished, however. Along with Irina Rodionova, Eala participated in doubles and advanced to the quarterfinals. Her bank account gained an additional $10,859 as a result of the run. $45,859 for the whole haul from Abu Dhabi in a week. To put it in context, Eala earned almost $150,000 in total prize money in 2024. She received over a third of it from Abu Dhabi alone. It was more than simply a good week. A game share was this person. However, the narrative was not only about the money. Her ranking is the true surprise. The most recent WTA rankings were released on February 3, 2025. For the first time in history, Alex Eala became the first Filipino to crack the top 40, rising from world number 45 to 38, a career high. Do you know what it implies? With her current ranking of 38, Eala may now directly enter every WTA 1000 event, which is the largest competition held outside of the Grand Slams. No more pleading for wild cards or qualifying. She enters on autopilot. The tennis community noticed. During a Tennis Channel Live interview, former Australian player and analyst Dani Saville, who peaked at number 20 in the world, said, "Tournaments should do everything in their power to have Alex Eala. She attracts admirers. She adds vitality. She is a force to be reckoned. Electric." Since Eala was doing more than simply winning matches, it was the term that everyone kept repeating. Stadiums were being sold out by her. There are 5,000 seats available at the Abu Dhabi International Tennis Complex. 90% of the crowd was Filipino, there were flags everywhere, and there was a possibility of Lone and Alex resonating through the stands during Eala's games. The organizers of the tournament claimed to have never seen something like. Nor for a player in the 40s, nor for a match in the first round. The prize money, the ranking boost, and the direct entry were all evidence that Eala had made it to the top. Here's the question, however, that nobody has yet raised. What is the true cost of success like this? Because there is a cost associated with every large payout. And the real fight was just getting started for Eala. Let's go back to January 25, 2025. Fabrice D'Albiac, the event director, was anxious as the Abu Dhabi Open got underway. Nor about the weather, nor about the top seeds. The logistics worried him. Due to the fact that thousands of Filipinos were arriving in Abu Dhabi. They traveled from the Middle East, where hundreds of thousands of Filipino expatriates work, Manila, Cebu, and Davao. They arrived with posters, flags, and jerseys with Eala's name on them. They transformed the Abu Dhabi Open into a Filipino festival while they were there to see history. Later, D'Albiac said to reporters, "Grand Slam winners have visited us. We have had players in the top 10, but this is the largest audience we have ever seen. Not for a match in the first round. It was crazy how much energy there was. There were roars in response to each point that Eala won. The audience went wild after every rally, every ace, and every triumph. The opposition wasn't only using Eala. They were representing a whole country." While providing analysis for Tennis Channel Live, Dani Saville couldn't stop discussing it. She said that tennis needed this. Players with youthful charm who attract new audiences. She should be treated like royalty during tournaments. It wasn't just chatter either. It was supported by the numbers. The organizers of the competition said that ticket sales for Eala's sessions were twice as high as anticipated. Her name-branded merchandise sold out in a matter of hours. Every time she performed, the tournament's social media engagement increased. Eala was aware that she had turned into a marketing treasure trove. Following her comeback victory against Sasnovich, Aya said in a post-match interview, "I sense the support. It's too much. All I want is for everyone to be proud." The problem with becoming a national hero, however, is this. There is pressure involved. Filipinos wanted more than simply Eala to win. They anticipated it. They needed it. Eala was crucial for a nation without Grand Slam winners, tennis facilities, or a track record of elite achievement. She represented hope. She served as evidence that Filipinos were capable of competing globally. And that kind of expectation is quite burdensome. Felix, a former tennis legend from the Philippines. "Alex is carrying a burden no one else understands," Barrientos said in a local interview. "Not only is she playing for herself. There are 110 million people watching her perform." However, Aya had no complaints. She was doing well. Additionally, the Abu Dhabi run demonstrated her ability to cope with pressure. Would she be able to maintain it? Since enduring the grind is where the true tale lies, victory is only one thing. In Abu Dhabi, Alex Eala earned $45,859. That sounds fantastic, doesn't it? Money that can change your life. Here's what nobody discusses, however. The majority of it is not kept by her. Let's dissect it. Taxes come first. Aya can lose 20 to 30% immediately away, depending on the tournament's location and her resident status. Before she ever gets the check, $9,000 to $13,000 has already been spent. Then there is her hitting partner, coach, physiotherapist, nutritionist, and crew. They must all be compensated. Travel costs can mount up, including airfare, lodging, meals, and visas. The expenses of an A-list team might easily reach $10,000 to $15,000 for a competition like Abu Dhabi. All of a sudden, that $45,859 in real take-home pay seems more like $20,000. Yes, it was still substantial, but not as much as it seemed. The harsh reality of professional tennis is as follows. You're barely making ends meet if you're not in the top 20. Aya is currently rated 38th. Even though she's outperforming 99% of gamers, she's still struggling to make ends meet. It's a nightmare to travel. Tennis players are on their own, in contrast to team sports where organizations manage logistics. Eala must handle all of her own travel, accommodation, and visa arrangements for each nation where she competes. A visa is required for the UAE. Visas are needed for Europe and Qatar. Every competition is a logistical conundrum. Then there is the psychological cost. Eala is 20 years of age. She is expected to be going to college, hanging out with pals, and discovering who she is. Rather, she travels by aircraft every week, sleeping at a new hotel, eating strange cuisine, and bearing the aspirations of a whole country. People see the wins, the prize money, the rankings, Aya stated in a rare, unguarded moment at a news conference earlier this year in Manila. They are blind to my loneliness, my wounds, and the times I've sobbed in hotel rooms over missing home. That is the price of striving for greatness. Aya is also covering the cost. What sets her apart from everyone else, however, is this. She isn't whining. She is not offering justifications. Since she is aware that her window for success in tennis is limited, she is just working, grinding, and battling. From here, where does she go? As the run in Abu Dhabi was just the start. Alex Eala currently holds the 38th position in the global rankings. Give it some thought. Just now, a 20-year-old from a nation with almost little tennis infrastructure broke into the top 40. She hasn't finished yet. The Car Open in Doha is the next event. Another WTA 1000 occasion. No requirements, direct admission. She has earned her position and is competing against the world's finest. What this implies for Philippine tennis, however, is the more significant tale. The Philippines has been a basketball nation for many years. The idea of tennis was an afterthought. There were few courts. The cost of coaching was high. In order to prosper, players had to leave the nation. That's precisely what Eala did. She received her training in Spain at the Rafa Nadal Academy. She excelled on the junior circuit of Europe. In order to get here, she gave up everything. She is now demonstrating to a whole generation of Filipino children that it is feasible. Record enrollment is being reported by Manila Tennis Mize. Children who have never touched a racket are requesting instruction from their parents. A list achievement is igniting a movement. However, there is a reverse aspect. The infrastructure for tennis in the Philippines is still decades behind. There are no significant sponsorships or government-funded initiatives. Aya depends on her family and a few private donors to pay for her expenses, therefore she is virtually self-funded. A former Davis from the Philippines. In a recent interview, Cup captain Roland Kraut said, "Alex is doing everything alone. Just think of what she might do if she had cash, a nationwide program, and genuine backing. The dream is that because of Aya's success, the Philippine government and commercial sector will be compelled to sponsor new players, construct courts, invest in tennis, and establish a pipeline that will not rely just on one superstar to carry the sport." Aya is also thinking more broadly. She's not just after ranks. She aspires to top 20 rankings, Grand Slam main draws, trophies, and legacy. "This is just the start," she said in her post-Abu Dhabi interview. "My goal is to motivate the next generation. She's already doing it, and I want Filipino children to think they can succeed as well. She is demonstrating that Filipinos are worthy of being on the international scene each time she takes the court. She gives the finger to everyone who claimed it couldn't be done with each ranking point she receives." Alex Eala did more than simply make a lot of money in Abu Dhabi. She profited from a lifetime of selflessness, faith, and perseverance. The top tennis players are also frightened because they know what's about to happen. Alex Eala is a storm, a warrior, a champion, and she's only just getting started. Was Abu Dhabi just on a hot run, then? Or did Alex Eala just become unstoppable at this point? There is little doubt that the Philippines and the tennis community are keeping an eye on things. They now believe instead of only wishing. What are your thoughts? By the end of 2026, will Eala be able to make it into the top 20? Please share your opinions in the comments section below. Additionally, if Alex is riding with you, this narrative is far from ended, so please press the subscribe button and join Eala on this adventure. You don't want to miss what occurs, I assure you.